opportunity for people to share. So I'm going to turn it over to them. I've asked them to be brief, which is really challenging, I know, but we have a short amount of time. So they're going to just talk for 5 or 6 minutes about some of the resources that they've done, some of the lessons that they've done, some resources that they've used. And then if there's time at the end, we're going to kind of come back. This is a little bit different from what we had originally talked about, you guys, but I want you to have time to speak. So if we have time at the end, we'll come back and just maybe present some sort of global tips that we had all identified as being important when we talk about mental health. At any point, if you have questions, I would encourage you to go ahead and ask. But if it's going too long, then I'll probably ask you just to kind of take a break and talk with them afterwards, because I just volunteered you all to be available for a few minutes afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Wendy Blanchard.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, I'm Wendy Blanchard, and I work for the Mental Health Association of Rockland County. I'm a client and family advocate, as well as the community educator and an ambassador for the Mental Health Association. So I have had the opportunity to work with many educators, support staff, school nurses, counselors across Rockland County in training them for youth mental health first aid. And we're just starting to get into the mental health and wellness 101 requests as well. In youth mental health first aid, we teach how to recognize signs and symptoms of a mental health disorder, how to engage empathetically and safely, and how to connect to our resources in our community. And in the training, we also teach about protective factors. And protective factors are healthy practices that we use to keep us in a wellness mindset. And so we've learned that when we implement these wellness factors and teach them early on, that there is a significant increase in recovery from mental health disorders. I have been told specifically by the school nurses, that they have now a revolving door of youth as young as 5 years old, coming into their office chronically with chronic complaints of physical illness. And they tell me that they suspect there is an underlying emotional issue. We know for a fact that our mental health and our physical health are directly correlated. And so after the youth mental health first aid training, they have approached me and told me they feel that they're better equipped now to approach the child's emotional needs as well as to approach the family, which can also be difficult to approach family members about a child's emotional needs. We've learned that mental health symptoms that go untreated become chronic, which leads to chronic anxiety, chronic depression, and may very well lead to suicide in some cases. The good news is that these disorders are diagnosable, treatable, and manageable. And when we offer these resources, as we are through the mental health education law and the support through the site that Mahaney's has set up now, the resource room, we know that when we implement these resources, that we implement a mindset of wellness, and there's a significant and great chance of sustained recovery. As a loosely based case study, I just want to say to you that I was that child in the nurse's office almost every single day. I had suffered great trauma as a child, and there were no resources. There was no mental health association where I grew up. There were no resources in our school or in our district. There were no resources in the community. And unfortunately, as we see in many children and families, my parents were both living with their own mental health disorders. And so they were unable to help. And so I would go to the nurse's office and complain, just like I'm hearing the school nurses of today tell me the same complaints, and I would cry, and I was filled with anxiety and stomach aches, and I would be sent home very frequently. And because my parents couldn't connect, I would go home, I would lay down, I would feel sick, and I would start all over again the next day. And I spent my life for the following 40 years that way. But I'm very happy to say that just about almost 6 years ago, I went into recovery for substance use disorder and mental health disorders, and my life has completely turned around, and I'm doing this work that I love so much in Rockland County with children and families in our communities, and I'm very grateful to be where I am today. So this is the face of recovery, and we do recover. I've also had a chance to go into our health education classes in Rockland County. And I introduce things when I go in, we talk about anxiety, we talk about depression, and I've introduced the concept of meditation. These are wellness practices that we'll find in the dimensions of wellness. This is one of them. We focus on this because it's so important in self-care, and meditation is a great way to relieve anxiety and to calm our minds. And so when I go into the classrooms, we try this, and I would love to share this with you. It's very quick, but this is a very quick meditation that you can actually take back to your schools, to your classroom. You can use it yourself. It requires maybe 1 minute, and I want to mention that we have a school in our community who's doing meditation and yoga with 4-year-olds in a preschool, and it's very successsul, and they tell me it's a wonderful tool. And so if you start at the beginning of the day, or if you start at the beginning of a class, 45-minute class, and you take 1 minute to help to sort of calm the anxiety and calm the mind, you have better concentration. So this is called Peace in My Pulse. And so I'm going to ask you to just sit up straight. And if they say that we have a third eye in between our eyebrows, and they speculate that we're able to see more through this eye than we can with our sight. So you take the 4 fingers on your right hand, place them on the pulse of your left hand until you can feel the pulse in all 4 of your fingers. Wait to hear it. And then we're going to use a mantra that says Sat Nam, S-A-T-N-A-M, and what that means is, this is my truth. This is a great meditation to help concentration and to calm the mind. So as you're feeling your pulse, we close our eyes, you can close your eyes, and focus on that third eye between your eyebrows. And as you are saying mentally to yourself, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. Say it as you hear the heartbeat. Try to connect those as you feel your pulse. Take a deep breath in through your nose for 8 seconds. Hold it for 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And breathe out for 8 seconds through your mouth. Open your eyes when you're ready. I don't know about you, but I'm so nervous. Mine is going Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. All right, and so most importantly, it is to share these tools and strategies. I have a lot more. We do gratitude grab bags where the children are given thank you notes and some little protein bars, different things, and they're asked in gratitude to give them out to peers, to teachers, to staff. And we know that a gratitude practice really shifts our mindset from, what is wrong, with the world to what is right with the world. Positive affirmations. There are many different tools and strategies that I'm picking up at the schools, or that as a retired teacher, I think about in the classrooms. It's really important to share these tools and these strategies, not only in our classrooms, in our communities, but with our families as well. It's really important to share with them, to have a daily connection, the healthy practices I spoke of, those being the protective factors, being healthy eating, good sleep hygiene, exercise, staying connected to at least one other person. We found for youth that having at least one other person to stay connected to and on a daily basis really improves their chances of sustaining recovery. And they found that that one adult is usually found in a school setting. So it's really important to keep that in mind as well. In the Mental Health and Wellness 101, you'll go through and you'll see we used 6 dimensions of wellness when we created this. And so I hope that you'll visit the Resource Center. It's so impressive and it's so helpful and has so many wonderful resources for everyone, community partners, for teachers, for administrators, for everyone that is working with youth. And so all of these healthy practices and protective factors help us to be aware of our own feelings and hopefully to share them safely. And the key to wellness is in these protective factors and keeping our mindset on recovery and on healing and finding those resources to help us to do that in our communities, just like the Mental Health Association. We're very blessed now. I know that if I had had these resources as a child, I wouldn't have spent 40 years living with substance use disorder and mental health disorders. So we're very blessed to have not only the new mental health education law, but all of the wonderful resources that we have in our communities and that Mahaney's is providing for us on this amazing resource room. It is said that what we focus on expands, so let's focus on wellness. Thank you.
Those are so impactful when you have the opportunity to hear from someone with lived experience. So something to consider as you're developing your own curriculum. And now I'd like to turn it over